right, Craig. I already know which team you're doing. Go ahead.
I'm doing the Cardinals, man. You know what?
I know
This
it.
Cliff Kingsbury keeps killing me, man. And
That's your man, man. Go ahead.
I gave him some praise last year, and then he just fell off a cliff. But yeah, Cliff Kingsbury, man, his team start out hot. His team start out really good, and then the back half of the season or whatever, they just take a nosedive, and they just either back like they did last year. They backed into the playoffs. I don't know if that. I mean, this year with I'm going to get this year with D Hop being suspended for the first six games, it's going to be even tougher for him to start out with a hot start, and then you can't with him being missed. You can't start out hot, or you can't start out bad, I should say, and then think you're going to just end off the season really, really good. Like try to do the reverse. That's pretty much not his forte as a coach so far. So, and they've lost some pieces on both sides, and I'm not really sure what's going to happen with this team. Cliff Kingsbury might be in over his head this year, even though the NFC is down, but like he's just I don't believe in him. So he's a 24-24 coach, 24-24-1. So and 0-1 in the playoffs. So but like I said, he looks good the first half of the season, and the struggles every single year as a coach it's just been the same. So I don't really expect him to end the season off well, basically. He's going to continue that trend. But on the offensive side, you got Kyler Murray, who just signed a 5-year, $230 million deal. So he's going to have to live up to that. I get that it's the market, but he hasn't really produced like for that contract. But I mean, it is what it is. That's the market, and you have to pay your star quarterback. So kind of interesting to see what he's going to do this year. Last year he was 24-10. His rushing yards declined. He only played 14 out of 17 games, but even still, his rushing yards took a big hit. The rushing touchdowns took a big hit. Decision making was just hit or miss. I know they didn't have D Hop for a lot of the games last year. They're not going to have D Hop for the first 6 games this year. They also lost Christian Kirk, who wasn't like a number 1, even though he kind of got paid like a number 1-ish, maybe number 2. But like, he's not there anymore. They did go out and get Marquise Brown, which I did like them to do something because they needed somebody there to be a solid wide receiver, and maybe he can hold down the fort until DeAndre Hopkins gets back. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't think Marquise Brown's the number 1. So who knows? They lost Chase Edmonds. They still have Connor, who was a touchdown machine last year. So that should be pretty serviceable for him. I mean, you know, he's still the number 1 guy. They also signed Darrell Williams, so he can serve as the number 2. Zach Ertz he re-signed as well, so I think that's going to be key. I think for Kyler, just because you have that safety net or that safety blanket that you can rely on, especially like I said with D Hop out. AJ Green re-signed as well. I mean, I forgot he was even on the team. So I don't even know how much left he has in the tank anymore. With all the injuries that he's been through, but the offensive line is mediocre. I'm looking at PFF right now, and they got him 25th. So I really don't see much there. On the defensive side, I mean, losing Chandler Jones, Jordan Hicks, Jordan Phillips, like this is going to be tough. The defense was 11th last year in total yards given up, so that was good. But without some of these key guys coming back, I just don't. I don't know what they can. I don't know. They also lost Corey Peters, so that's some key pieces on defense. And I think I don't know, man. It's gonna be tough for them to actually go into this season and recover from that. And they also lost Malcolm Butler, who I'm about to get. They lost so many key, like decent piece, like name guys on the defensive side that was 11th last year, and I think they were like in the top 10 in takeaways. So they didn't really address the cornerbacks. Just looking at PFF, they got them 27th in secondary, 30th in the linebackers, and 27th in the defensive line. So, I don't really see high hopes for this team. Kyle's going to really have to pull off a remarkable, like he's going to have to at least get 30 touchdowns passing in order to keep this team afloat and just to make something happen. I initially had him at 9-8. I can't even give him that. I don't think. I got to change it to 7-10. I don't believe in this team. I just think they have too many pieces. I don't know if Kyler Murray is the overall end-all be-all quarterback for this team. DeAndre Hopkins is out 6 games. Or the offensive line is mediocre. Maybe Connor can get some. What, he had 15 rushing touchdowns last year. Maybe he can do that again. They're gonna need him to do something. But yeah, 7-10.
Oh man, I don't have them that. They did lose a lot. I might change it, but I don't know. Coach Cliff Kingsbury, he got an extension. They believe in him, even though his team since college tail off at the end of the season. So the Cardinals have gotten better each season. So they got better each season, but I think they're gonna do good this season. Offense, quarterback Kyler Murray signed a new contract, a bit of controversy in there, which was odd. Study clause. That's anyway. Now they took it out. That just lets me know their organization they leaked it, got bad press, took it out. They should have just never anyway. That's neither here or there, man. It's just ridiculous. So I think Murray's still a dynamic quarterback, even though he's just like his coach. But I'm not gonna lie, I would like to have him on my team. But of course we're in quarterback purgatory. But we're not at the Commanders yet. So I think he'll build on the success. The running backs, James Conner, he's good. Can he stay healthy? He thrived in that system. But I do like the addition of Darrell Williams. I think he adds depth and championship experience. Wide receivers, it's gonna hurt, man. DeAndre Hopkins is gonna hurt. 6 games is gonna be tough for them. But they do have Hollywood Brown. He was added on draft night. AJ Green, I think him and Murray need to build a better relationship. So hopefully they have. I do like Zach Ertz as tight end. I think it's a full off season. I think he's a good tight end. The O-line, they do have a lot of returning starters, but like Craig said, Will Hernandez coming from the Giants, he wasn't a good guard, and they're asking him to protect Kyler Murray, so they got their jobs. It's a handful, right? The D-line, held down by Rashad Lewis, but he definitely needs to improve from last year. The edge rushers, you got J.J. Watt, but he hasn't been able to stay healthy. He's one of the best, first ballot, one of the best edge rushers we'll ever see, but he's in his 12th season. Now their linebackers, all-ball linebackers I do like. Zach Collins and Isaiah Simmons. The question is, can they put it together on the field? Because they both were drafted high in that defense, but they haven't shown it on the field yet. So they need to make an impact this year. The cornerbacks, Byron Murphy Jr., Mark Wilson, are young. Cardinals have really young defense. Really young defense, really young team. So we'll see. In the back half of the defense, they got Buda Baker, as we know, veterans. But right now in camp, they're letting the other safety Jalen Thompson quarterback the defense and call plays. So we'll see how that works out. Overall prediction: the Cardinals are young. They proved each year with Kingsbury and Kyler. They have, it's a fact. I think they get better this year. I think they make the playoffs. I just think the NFC is weak. I think the NFC is very weak, man. You might get if they're not in the playoffs, they're going to be fighting for a playoff spot. I just think they're. That's just me. I think that the NFC is weak, man. I don't think there's no other quarterbacks, no other teams. But this is just I got to put it on paper and see. But all right, Corey, what you got for the Cardinals? Sorry, only one.
I think Cliff Kingsbury should be on the hot seat. I mean, I know they just gave him a new deal. He's coming back. They're running it back with him, but James just touched on it. The NFC is wide open and playoffs, period. And I think after last year, it's not, making the playoffs is not enough. You have to get in and win a game.
Yeah.
And if Cliff doesn't do that, you got to go move on.
Yeah.
Because you cannot keep wasting a talented young quarterback.
Yeah.
Offensively, just speaking of the quarterback, a ton of Kyler drama. We'll see how that plays out. But having a lot of distractions and drama right off the bat when training camp starts is not a good look. Getting the Kyler extension done was supposed to save a lot of that stuff, not cause it. We'll see what that leads to. They're putting a lot of faith in James Conner, I think. Williams is a fine running back, but a guy like Conner that's had issues staying on the field, I would have expected them to try to go find a little bit better of a number 2 to step in just in case.
Mm-hmm.
Trading for Hollywood Brown was interesting. It feels like they gave up a lot to get him. I get it. They're doubling down with Kyler. That's his guy. He wanted him. But, I mean, at least to me, it seems like you already had Hollywood Brown and Rondale Moore. Like, those guys have very similar skill sets.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it seems like you have a little bit of an overlap of abilities there. They're already going to be dealing with the suspension to Hopkins, as you guys mentioned. Hollywood Brown's probably going to be suspended to start the year now after his arrest today. And like, who's Kyler going to be throwing the ball to start the year? Because did you guys see Hollywood Brown got suspended for criminal speeding?
Yes.
So,
yep. I just saw that.
I mean, it may only be a game or two, but
I just saw that. They can't afford that.
No, they really can't. Defensively, like losing Chandler Jones hurts. Losing some of the pieces they did. Did you guys touch on? We'll see what JJ Watt has left. He was still insanely productive on the field last year, but he wasn't on the field at the end of last year again. But sucks because he's a fun player to watch. He's a great human being. But it's his time's winding down, unfortunately. Buda Baker is a ton of fun to watch as a player. But they, as James kind of touched on, they're going to need a lot of young guys to step up and make some major contributions early, like Isaiah Simmons, Myjai Sanders, and Zaven Collins. Overall, again, I think Cliff's coaching for his job. The Kyler situation right now is already a mess. I think it raises serious questions about his leadership and his maturity, because as a team, you shouldn't have to financially encourage your quarterback to do his job. Like, studying film is part of being a professional football player and more importantly, an NFL quarterback. If he's not willing to put in that work, that is a huge red flag. So you have that. You have multiple potential suspensions. If they've banked on having hot starts, if they struggle out of the gate at all, I think things could snowball in a hurry on them. If they had if Kyler was a stronger presence in that locker room. Because I've heard rumors that Larry Fitzgerald's completely stepping away from the franchise has something to do with Kyler Murray and him clashing. And if you don't get along with a guy like Larry Fitzgerald, that too feels like a bit of a red flag. The Cardinals are betting it all on Kyler's talent, though. I'm just not sure Cliff Kingsbury is the guy to get the most out of that talent. I'm going to say 9-8, but I could honestly see the season going worse because if things start compounding early, I don't think Kingsbury or potentially Kyler at this point in his career are in a position to be able to right that ship. So I will be a little bit surprised if Cliff Kingsbury is the head coach of this team next season.